This video is going to focus on continuation of the role of marketing and specifically focusing on how marketing has evolved from the production approach to marketing through the selling approach to marketing and then on to today where we're looking at the marketing approach. So as it says on the screen there, marketing has evolved considerably over time to where we are today, where the customer has become the focal point. And again, if we go back to Apple examples, Apple has put the customer right at the centre of their marketing campaigns, considering, okay, what is it the customer actually wants, how are we going to deliver that to them, and at what price, and how are we going to distribute that to the customer. Having said that, these types of approaches were certainly not always the case. It wasn't really until the 1960s when the customer became more of the focal point of marketing campaigns. In consideration of that, however, those older strategies should not be discounted and they should not be seen to be relics and not relevant today. They may well be relevant in some types of businesses. So the three approaches to marketing, if we start off with the production approach to marketing, production approaches back in the most of the 1800s, early 1920s, where the businesses were just considering what is it that we can produce to provide to the customer, but not actually considering what the customer wants. There just wasn't the technology, there wasn't the accessibility to information to allow businesses to diversify their product offering and to offer more than what it was that they could produce, which meant the customer was definitely not at the centerpiece of their marketing. They were just almost a byproduct. So the business was working at producing products that it could make best. And again, if you think about Henry Ford, he was making motor vehicles because that was the thing that he could do best. It assumed customers would buy their products and generally ignored the opinions of their customers. Henry Ford's slogan, "You can have any colour you want of our Model T Ford as long as that colour is black," fits that down to a T. He assumed the customers would come and buy those products and didn't really take into account the opinions of the customer. It suggested that consumers favour the products that are available, that had the best quality, were good quality, and that were affordable in relation to their competition. Having said that, because of increased competition, if you think about motor vehicle manufacturers, for example, there's so many of them these days. Businesses cannot afford to market through this approach and not consider the desires of their customer anymore. So hence we've moved forward. Things progressed from the production approach to marketing into the selling approach to marketing through the mid-1900s, where businesses started to take into consideration selling techniques and recognise how important it was in the potential sales of products. This is similar to the production approach in that it focused on the needs of the business rather than the customer, but the business began to put in place selling strategies to attempt to sell products to those customers, and it emphasised those persuasive sales techniques to attempt to convince the customer, and through that there was use of such things as unsolicited mail, so getting flyers in your letterbox, for example, to try to push sales techniques and thoughts through to the customer. And you can see some examples of these that the Ford Motor Company used through this period, through the mid-1900s. The selling approach to marketing has now evolved to the marketing approach, which is now in play, where the customer has become the focal point or the centerpiece of a marketing campaign for an organisation and for a product, where the customer is central. It's about satisfying the needs of those customers, offering the products that they want. This has been driven by changing economic and social conditions over this time. That has meant that there is more competition. Customers are demanding more specific products, and therefore to survive, businesses must meet those needs. And it's important to note that while the customer is at the centerpiece, it's also about marketing to them, it's about pricing to them appropriately, it's about distributing the products to them appropriately and designing the products appropriately that those customers will desire those products. Again, just to reiterate, there's a picture down there of the Apple iPhone. The reason being, Apple is brilliant at understanding what it is the customer wants, putting them at the centerpiece, thinking about the price the customer will pay, how the customer is going to access that product, i.e. through the Apple stores or through our online marketplace. And that's one of the many reasons Apple has been so successful.